Okay, so there you are, getting ready to film a music video. Maybe your first ever. You have big aspirations. Maybe you're thinking you want to include some silhouette shots in it. Maybe you're thinking you want to have some lens flares. Maybe you're even thinking you want to try some focus pulling. This is all stuff I'm going to show you how to do in today's video with literally almost no budget, by the way. You're stressed to sit down and start editing the video, you're scared to start packing for the video, and you don't know how many stingers to bring. What do? I just got done shooting a commercial music video and it literally could not have gone better. Okay, well, apart from like one really specific thing, but I'll get to that in a minute. So I was on YouTube the day before trying to study and learn everything I could about how to film a music video, but I realized I really couldn't find anything going for the style that I was trying to go for. The reason for that was because all of the filmmakers that I was watching making music videos had really high budgets, and I had basically a $0 budget, working with literally either gear that I had previously bought or borrowed. Realizing there was like nothing useful on YouTube, I then knew my mission. I had to go and record an entire professional music video recording behind the scene footage, that way I can go home and then edit the entire thing, that way I can film an entire video on how I filmed that exact music video so that I can get it to you, that way you can film an entire music video yourself. I cannot tell you how many takes that just took. So here's the story on how I shot my first professional music video, covering everything I did right, all the cool and crazy shots that I got. I'm going to tell you how to edit the video in the best and most efficient way, and then I'm also going to cover something that happened that literally almost ruined the entire film day. Okay, so before I talk about how to set up and light the shots, the first thing I'm actually going to talk about is the gear. I didn't have to rent any gear, and if you're going for a similar look than some of the shots that you see in the official music video, which once it comes out I will link to it, then it's actually really quite simple. This right here is all of the gear that I brought laid out, and I didn't actually use all of that. Okay, no, this is chicken and noodles that I made the other night, but it was really yummy and I wanted to show somebody. But anyway, this is actually all the gear that I brought with me. I know it seems like a lot, but you can actually get the exact same look that I got with a lot less gear, and I'm going to show you how in a minute. So there actually is a reason why I packed more gear than I actually ended up using. That's because I would have rather had too much gear with everything already set up, rather than I get there and I set everything up only to realize I forgot like 2 lights that I didn't think I needed, and I actually did need. It's just better to bring it with you and not need it rather than leave it at the studio and then not have it at all. A really strong example of this is actually in this music video. This light, and this light are all lights that I brought that are really powerful, but I didn't end up using, even though I actually genuinely thought I was going to need them. I didn't know exactly how I was going to set up the shot because I'd never seen the actual location in person before, so I didn't know exactly how I was going to do it. I had kind of an idea, and that idea revolved on me using really all 3 of these lights. But by the time that I got there, this space looked a lot different than in the videos, so I really didn't have an idea anymore. Meaning, for one, I had to make it up as I went, but then also I ended up not needing those lights. Instead, I ended up using these 2 lights. This small rig spotlight I ended up using for hair light in the back, and then this Amaran 60D I ended up using for the key light. Those are literally the only 2 lights I used aside from these Christmas fairy lights that I brought with me. It really is incredible the look I was able to get with literally just 2 lights and 1 haze machine. Which reminds me, it is 1,000,000,000% important to invest in a haze machine before you shoot your music video. Using the haze machine and putting fog in the background is actually how you get shots like this, and this, and this, and this. It allows you to actually see the light rays itself rather than just what the light is hitting. I bought this haze machine literally 3 years ago for a video, and I still have haze left in the original bottle that I bought the haze machine with. I literally have not had to go buy more haze yet, and I've been using this thing for over 3 years. Okay, I don't want to see any comments on how I have a really nice button-up shirt and then gym shorts on. No one was supposed to notice that. Just be glad that I have pants on at all, okay? Okay, so that's pretty much everything about the gear that you'll need to know. After we loaded all of it up into my car, thank you, Ray, and then got to the church where we were filming and unloaded it, thank you, Ava, we were ready to go. Okay, here we are. Set up the music video. I have Ava behind the camera as the filmer. We're gonna continue opening the space. We have to do, the first shots are gonna be wide shots, so we need to have as much open as we can. Once we get that, then we can kind of move this around a little bit more, and then we'll kind of focus the lighting a little bit more and do as much as we can for the close-up shots. So I have fairy lights. I'm not sure exactly how I'm gonna use them yet, but we're gonna put them somewhere over there. So we'll check in later. The first thing Ava and I did when we first got there was take all the tables and then move them back. That way we knew what space we were working with. I got this cool time lapse from it. Once we were done moving all the tables back and opening up the space as much as we could, this was really the space we were working with. Now here's my dilemma. Take a look right here. Look at all of these giant windows. Now, normally windows are like my best friend. I have a window right there that I'm using right now. I love windows. However, in a music video, you really, unless it's the look you're going for, you don't always need them. Now, I had a really specific shot idea and how I wanted to light this. I knew exactly what I was going for, and it did not involve those windows. It involved really warm light. The issue with that is all of these giant lights right here are pushing cool light, daylight, into the room, which basically meant because of these giant windows, there really was nothing I could do to light the shot how I wanted. Except, remember when I told you earlier how we took all those tables and moved them back? All those tables had black tablecloths on them. Once Ava and I realized that, we realized we could tape the giant tablecloths onto the windows, covering all of them up. I brought one sheet of black fabric, but nowhere near enough to cover all of these windows. So if those tables hadn't had tablecloths on them, there literally would have been nothing I could do to get that kind of a shot, and I would have had to go for a completely different vibe. Luckily, I really lucked out here. Except, there was another dilemma. Look at this table. Look how big and heavy that tablecloth looks. Okay, it was really heavy. So finally, after about 45 minutes of taping all those windows with fabric, they started to fall. One at a time, they fell, and they only lasted about 10 minutes. One of them actually ended up staying okay, but 2 out of the 3 curtains basically fell. One of them fell in the middle of one of the shots. You can see in this shot right here actually where that curtain fell. That little black fabric right there is a little bit of fabric that I brought. That stuff on the ground is the giant tablecloth that fell in the middle of the shot. Now, even with less covering of the windows than I wanted, they were still covered enough by the black fabric to where it made a big enough difference to where it was worth spending like an hour and a half taping all of that up there. It wasn't perfect, and it was a little bit brighter in that room than I wanted. However, it still worked out really well. So that kind of was perfect. However, the whole reason why that fabric didn't stay was because I used duct tape and not gaff tape. Because I actually didn't bring any gaff tape with me. I know, out of all that gear, I didn't bring any gaff tape. Crazy, right? Alright, so let's say now that you're at your own music video setup and you did everything you could to control all the lighting, but you haven't actually added any of your own lights yet. How do you know where to begin? How do you know what to do? Well, Ava, I'm actually very glad that you asked. So the best way to film a music video is to start off by filming all of the wide shots. Then you want to film all of the medium shots. And lastly, you want to film all of the tight or close-up shots. Now, when you're going to light this scene as best you can while keeping it a wide shot, meaning don't put any of the lights you don't want seen in the wide shot. Obviously, it's not going to look just like how you want it to look because you're not going to be able to put your key light, which needs to be next to the subject, all the way in there if it's a wide shot. However, maybe put your key light back a little bit. That's kind of what I did, and I'll talk about that in a second. However, that's the first thing that you want to do. Light the shot as a wide shot. Then, when you go in to shoot all of your medium shots, move all of your lights in and refine it as much as you can while keeping it a medium shot. Again, making sure that all the lights that you don't want seen stay out of the line of sight of the camera. And finally, for your mid to close-up shots, move all of your lights in to be as close as you want to get the look that you're going for. Here's how I lit mine. This spotlight right here could stay in the shot the whole time, so I didn't have to worry about framing it out when I had the wide shot or the medium shot, which obviously would have been really difficult. Because it was a music video, obviously you can see lights in it, and if that's the look that you're going for, then it really doesn't matter. I didn't care if the spotlight was there. The audience knows that there's a spotlight there if you're going to see a lens flare, so for the point of the storytelling, it really doesn't matter if you can see the spotlight or not, which is why it was okay for that to be in the shot. Now, for the wide shot, I couldn't have my key light right up against the subject because that would not have looked good. So I needed to find a way to light my subject as best I could while in a wide shot. The way that I did this is I took my second light and I put it as far back as I could to where it was just in frame of the shot. And then I put this spotlight thingy attachment on it. I don't know what it's called. It's like a light reflector, I think. But I put that on it. Then I put my camera to about 4%. That way, it just barely lit up my subject a little bit while not lighting up the background too much. And that was really the best I could do. For all the medium shots, I took that same light, I put a soft box on it with a grid attachment, and then I moved that light as close to my subject as I could. The grid was so that all of the light didn't spill onto the background. And finally, for the close-up shots, I knew that I wanted it to be a very soft look. So I bought a shower curtain, and then I shined my light through the shower curtain, and that diffused the light a lot, which gave it a much softer look. Note that the only cool light that I used was that key light right there. The fairy lights and the spotlight were both really warm color temperature. Even though a lot of that warm light did spill onto his face, that 5600 Kelvin light spilling onto his face kind of helped separate him a little bit more. Now, some creative shots you can use in your music video are stuff like silhouetting, so putting a really bright light behind your subject and then kind of weaving it in and out and making sure that your subject is underexposed. Focus pulling between instruments, which is pretty self-explanatory, and then panning up from the instrument to the face and then vice versa. Those were all shots that I used in this music video to keep it interesting rather than just wide shot, close-up shot, medium shot. Doing it this way keeps it interesting and you can kind of mix things up a little bit that way. And lastly, the editing. Here's the best way to go about doing that. Is this cinematic? This feels really cinematic. Okay, I'm gonna do my best to do this entire segment in one take. So here we go. Basically, the way that I went about editing this video is I recorded several different takes of different angles. So basically, I recorded 3 different takes from wide shots. I recorded 2 different takes from medium shots. I recorded 4 different takes from close-up shots, but him playing all the way through the song. And by the time I was done, I had 19 different takes, all of him playing through the song completely. Now, that took a long time. However, I had the time to do that, and I know that that would make it a lot easier when I edited it. And here's why. Now that I had 19 different takes of him playing the exact same song, I could put it into Premiere Pro and then click synchronize to each one of them, layering them on top of each other. That way I had one 3-minute segment in Premiere Pro, however, layered on top of it is like 19 different takes. And that way I got to choose which one was on top was the one that was shown. So then I just went through and then out of each one I saw, I want this angle for this shot. And then during this part of the song, I want him to look like here, be like this. That way I got to choose where exactly he went, and that was really easy. I told my client to expect about 3 weeks just to give me a little bit of time, but I edited this in like less than 3 hours probably, over the span of like 2 or 3 days. However, editing was so quick and easy, and I loved it so much because I did so much work in the pre-production and during the production that by the time I went to the editing, it was really easy. That was one take. Let's go. Well, since that was in one take, I'll do this in one take too. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I had so much freaking fun making this music video. If you're somebody in the area and need a music video, you can let me know. It's fine. Either way, I hope you guys have a wonderful Have a wonderful rest of your day or night. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night, and I will see you guys. Also, subscribe. Yes, please. Thank you. Have a good night.